The fire crackled low and steady, echoing off the still waters of Lake Lead Elm like whispers from the past. That lake, my lake, was silent now, just as she liked it. The stars blinked above, too far away to touch, but too bold to ignore. I sat cross-legged on the gravel, the old camping blanket wrapped around my legs, and the scent of pine and ash curling into the cool night. This was supposed to be for her, Maya. 1 year since the cancer took her voice, her laugh, and her steady hand that used to tug me back from my own rage. I lit the fire in her memory, under the sycamore where she used to read her mystery novels and sip whiskey like it was lemonade. That fire wasn't just warmth, it was defiance, a flare to the sky that said, "We are still here. This land remembers us." I wasn't expecting company, not that kind. The headlights cut through the trees just before midnight. I heard them before I saw them. Gravel tires, the heavy crunch of someone trying to make a point. 3 cars, 2 sedans, 1 SUV with gold-plated trim and exhaust pipes too clean for a ranch road. Doors slammed, heels clicked, flashlights danced across my property like searchlights at a prison break. I stood slowly, dusting off my jeans. The firelight caught their faces as they emerged. 3 HOA board members and 1 smug-looking sheriff's deputy trailing behind like a lost pup. Karen led the pack. Yes, that was her real name. Karen Stapleton, president of the Lakeview Harmony HOA, which sat on the northeast side of the lake. Her designer boots crunched in the gravel like a threat. "Sir, you are trespassing on protected HOA property," she said sharply, squinting at me like I was some vagrant. I blinked slowly. "You must be confused." "No, you're the one confused," she snapped. "This land and this lake are protected under the community covenant. We've received complaints from homeowners about unauthorized activity, fires, camping, loud music." I chuckled. There had been no music, not unless cicadas counted. "This is my land." Karen arched a perfectly sculpted brow. "Your land?" The deputy stepped forward. He was young, too young, badge polished, gun untouched, but already itching for authority. "Sir, I'm gonna have to see identification." "I'll do you one better." I pulled out the folded deed from my jacket pocket like a magician revealing a royal flush. "I've owned this ranch for 10 years. The entire south half of Red Elm Lake, including the western shoreline. You're on my property right now." He took it, looked at it like it was written in Sanskrit, and handed it off to Karen. Her face paled a little as she scanned it. Her lips tightened. "This can't be right," she whispered. "Oh, it's very right. Your HOA? It was formed after I bought this land. You expanded the neighborhood north and east, but the original easement never crossed into my zone. You can check the county records. I did." The deputy looked at her. "Ma'am, if this is true—" She yanked her phone from her coat pocket. "It's forged. It has to be. This land is—"
Certified mail. Legal threats from the HOA claiming environmental violations, citing obscure local ordinances meant for public parks. They demanded I cease illegal land occupation and vacate within 30 days or face escalation. Escalation, huh? Cute. They were playing lawyer ball with a man who once negotiated water rights from Texas oil barons during a drought. Maya used to say I was born for war, but molded for peace. They'd soon learn both sides. I called the county assessor's office, quietly. Confirmed the deed chain, no overlaps, no shared ownership, just one little hiccup. 10 years ago, the previous landowner granted temporary lake access to the local HOA president for fishing. No transfer of ownership, just a courtesy. That expired 6 years ago. But it had been quietly renewed. Forged renewal signatures, buried in an electronic system no one questioned, Until now. And guess who witnessed the new signatures? Karen Stapleton. That's when I knew this wasn't about a fire or camping. This was about legacy theft. They wanted the lake, my lake, Maya's lake. They wanted it for HOA control, private, community access, they said. Lakeside weddings, jet ski events, artificial beaches, HOA luxury. They saw water and saw dollar signs, but they didn't see me. They didn't see the drone footage I compiled or the old wildlife surveys from the Conservation Board showing endangered frogs that spawned only on the South Bank, my bank. They didn't know about the underground well cap installed by the previous owner with GPS coordinates registered to the Bureau of Land Management. That well, it supplied 40% of the water runoff to HOA's side of the lake. I could shut it with one valve turn, legally. But I didn't. Not yet. Instead, I invited guests, not the rowdy type. Lawyers, journalists, 2 YouTubers who covered land rights abuse, and a retired judge who owed me a favor from a real estate deal I saved him from in 2008. We had a bonfire, told stories, drank whiskey. The judge wandered over to the line between properties and shook his head. "This is going to be one hell of a story," he said. I didn't know then just how right he was. That Sunday, I held a memorial for Maya. Open invite. Neighbors came, old ranchers, kids she used to tutor, even a few folks from the HOA's own territory. They brought flowers, hung lanterns, and shared memories under the sycamore. Karen showed up too, in a beige pantsuit, heels digging into the soil, flanked by 2 HOA board members like mafia muscle in Banana Republic blazers. She didn't speak. Court was set, county level. I knew the judge. Firm, fair, and not easily swayed by crocodile tears and pearl necklaces. I showed up in boots, pressed shirt, and a steel briefcase full of data, deeds, drone footage, and 3 independent expert testimonies, all tied with red legal tape and timestamps dating back a decade. Karen arrived in a tailored navy suit, hair pulled back like a political candidate, flanked by a real estate lawyer with teeth too white to be trustworthy. Their argument was polished. On paper, but paper didn't show sabotage. Didn't show the video of Karen's contractors pouring glyphosate near a freshwater inlet. Didn't show her signature on 3 falsified access renewal contracts, one of which listed the wrong date and the wrong name for the deceased original landowner. But I showed all of it. The courtroom was so quiet you could hear her lawyer's jaw clench when the judge asked, "Mrs. Stapleton, can you explain why the HOA is collecting membership dues from residents using property you do not legally own?" Karen tried to spin it, claimed administrative confusion, claimed historical use, claimed community need. The judge blinked, then turned to me. "Mr. Jameson, do you have further evidence?" I nodded. "Yes, Your Honor, but more than that, I have a surprise." I turned and nodded toward the back. The door opened, and in walked Deputy Shane, the same young officer who tried to ID me that night by the fire, in uniform. This time standing next to his new supervisor, Sheriff Grace Lynn, recently appointed, known for her zero-tolerance policy on corruption and her dislike of HOA's overreaching property lines. The county had called her in as part of an ethics review panel on land fraud. Guess who popped up in her investigation? Karen's face dropped. Sheriff Lynn stepped forward. "Your Honor, I've been authorized to inform the court that a criminal investigation is now open into forged land usage documents originating from the Lakeview Harmony HOA office. Charges may include document tampering, property fraud, and unlawful interference with utility systems." Karen stood, visibly shaken. "This is political. He's lying. This is a vendetta." "No, Karen," I said quietly. "This is justice." The judge didn't even need to deliberate.
The injunction was dropped, the easement claim invalidated, my land rights reinforced with explicit county backing. The HOA was ordered to pay restitution fees for environmental damage caused by the water poisoning, estimated at $87,000 and counting. Karen resigned from her position the next day and was arrested the next week. But that wasn't the end. 2 months later, the story went national. A headline on the front page of a major media outlet. HOA caught in land fraud scandal over Veterans Ranch Lake. Forged docks, environmental crimes, and a homeowner who fought back. I didn't ask for fame, but I accepted the microphone when it came. I spoke at a town hall about land rights, talked about legacy, about how the land holds memory better than people do, and how Maya's tree still stood taller than the HOA's million-dollar development plans. Communities across the country started looking into their own HOA agreements. A few class action lawsuits even spun off from it. One lawyer called me a spark that lit the brush fire. I just wanted my home back. I kept the fire pit by the lake, built a small pier with a bench facing west, where the sun drops behind the ridge. I named it Maya's Point. A bronze plaque reads, "For the ones who remember, for the ones who fight."